Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. Hey guys, wanted to pop on here before we got into this next episode and let you know about a couple new rad ideas that we have for the podcast. So, the first one is we have a survey up, and I would love to know what you guys think about the show. I'd love your feedback. I'd love your ideas for the next season. And I just love to know what you like and what you dislike about the podcast. And I'm going to sweeten the deal with a $50 gift card randomly drawn from everybody that completes the survey. The survey is going to be in the show notes of all of our shows. So no matter what time you start listening to the podcast at, you'll get a chance to win that gift certificate. The second thing that we're bringing in now is the ability for you guys to leave us a voicemail. You guys can actually call into the show, leave us a voicemail, let us know what you think about the show. If you have a funny story you'd like to share from your time as a first responder, I would love those and showcase those on the show as well. So make sure you guys check out that voicemail feature. It's going to be in the show notes, and check out the survey. Make sure that you get that chance to win that gift certificate. And now let's get back to what we all came here for, and that's another badass female first responder. Welcome back, guys. We are back today with a little firecracker. I'm here today with Kate Poersch. Kate is currently a paid on-call firefighter with Lac St. County. She's been with them for just over a year and a half, and prior to that, she was a dental assistant. So we've really jumped from one extreme to the other, out of the frying pan and into the fire. Kate has one fuck of a story for you guys. I am so excited for you guys to listen to this episode. You're gonna, yeah, it's a page turner. You're gonna get your socks knocked off. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you to Kate. Kate, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Nikki. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Like I said, I'm so pumped for this episode. We've been talking back and forth on social media and,
Oh, yeah.
trying to connect and trying to find days that work. Again, shift work, it's always all over the place. And being paid on call means you're getting called in. So there's
Oh,
all those
yeah.
dynamics, but we finally got it nailed down. And here we are. And like I said, I know a little bit about your background, not the whole story. So I am also, with our listeners, going to be learning the full story today. So let's jump right in. How did you get into paid on call fire coming from being a dental assistant?
Well, it's an interesting story to say the least. I've been told write a book or two because it'd be the bestseller. So, like I said, dental assistant prior to fire. Again, that was sort of out of the blue, but was really enjoying that. And COVID hit.
Yeah.
But the page turner just prior to COVID, so we call it my own 9/11. On September 11th of 2019, I was in a structure fire. So
Crazy.
I had my apartment burned down. It was a close call, lost everything. But in that situation, I mean, my apartment was top floor, fully engulfed. Calmest I'd ever been. No panic whatsoever. I was so chill, but I had that moment of, do I panic and surrender to the situation and just kind of give up and that is what it is, or keep on going, and I went right back to like the fourth and fifth grade and Sparky, get low and go slow, and I got low and I started sounding the floor in front of me, and like knowing what I know now, I did everything right and
Awesome.
got myself out of there. Now smoke inhalation, all the things, but it was a turning point for sure. I mean, COVID coming quickly on the coattails of that situation was really wrenching the system I already wasn't anticipating. So, really just needed that fresh slate. COVID threw so many wrenches for the dental industry that I didn't know what to do. My partner and I wanted to move out west here, so from Ontario, and we weren't sure what we were gonna do. I mean, he's a mechanic, so he's frontline service worker in that sense. He was still working
Mhm.
every single day, and I was sitting at home with crippling anxiety. Like I couldn't even get in the car. I
Mhm.
was so panicked of what am I gonna do? What's happening in the world right now? Like all these things. And I just kept coming back to trying to heal from that situation of shock of
Yeah.
losing everything and it not being my fault. I was asleep and whatever, things happen. And yeah, trying to figure that out, we chose jump ship.
Yeah.
So we did. We packed our bags and came west. And the story coming west is even a bit of a funny story. Had a rental on the way out here. We hit Thunder Bay, rental gone. So we were coming out here with everything we had and our dog and nowhere to live. Didn't know what we were gonna do. Found some awesome renters in Edmonton who, took us in and gave us a place, and we started looking for a house. We found Lac St, and that felt like home. Soon as we found this place at the lake, we knew this is where we were meant to be. All the people here were just welcomed us with open arms. So we put in our offer. I get up on Facebook, 3 a.m. I'm scrolling along. I'm on the county stuff looking around, and I see County Fire is accepting applications. And I thought, I'll be damned. Like, you're telling me the stars aligned. Like, woohoo! So we hadn't even had our offer accepted yet, and I already sent my application in at 3 a.m. with just all the faith in the world, but also not having a clue what I was doing. No credentials, no nothing, just a whim and some hope and dream. My captain, who my captain and my lieutenant of my station specifically are both women, which is one of the coolest things
Awesome.
ever. The guys are absolutely phenomenal. The guys in our station, I mean, they carry some serious weight for sure. We couldn't do it without them and all the other guys in the county, but wow, there's a lot of women here. Like, there's a lot of women in this service out here, and they welcomed me with open arms. And having my captain, who's like my mom out here, having no family, not knowing anyone, like they've taken me just under their wing completely. And I had to earn it every step of the way. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it was a good learning experience. But when I first applied and had to go for my interview, shaking in the boots, like I had to pull over probably 3, 4 times, having a panic attack. Like, what are you doing, girl? Are you crazy? Like, you're 5'2" and 100 pounds soaking wet. Like, genuinely, that's
Yeah.
actually like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? they're not gonna they're just gonna laugh in your face. Nope. Welcome me with open arms, and we're like, you know what? Show us what you can do, and we'll help you get the rest of the way. And every single person was like that. I never once faced that, stereotypical guys world thing or old boys
Mhm.
club. Like, not here. That's not the way it
Awesome.
works around here. Like, it is so inclusive and so welcoming. You just have to want it.
Yep.
Like, you know, doesn't
Yep.
owe you anything. There's no
Yep.
glory in just wearing a t-shirt. But
Hmm.
my God, the glory in doing this job. Like nothing I've ever felt before. And at that time too, was just coming out of COVID, struggling with a lot, as I'm sure everybody was. And just being young too. I'm only 28 years old. I never really been a part of much other than a football team back in high school. And this was just something for me that has changed me as a person, helped me grow, helped me develop, but also given me a pillar within my community
Hmm.
that, I mean, it's monumentally important around here, especially this rural community where, we are the first face that's there on somebody's worst day. And that is like sad some days, but the coolest thing we could ever do.
Yeah.
Because in the past, that's why I wanted to get into fire, having experienced some situations, car accidents, the structure fire, things like that, where I was rural community in Ontario. Fire was first there. I
Hmm.
had people who were off duty who heard the call, thought we were potentially deceased, come and check on us because we were young kids in a car accident. Like, an average person doesn't do that, but everyone that I know in fire is so far above average. It's
Yeah.
it's just crazy. Can't even find the words for it. So
Yeah.
that's why and kind of how. So it's getting into that. So when I started, no credentials, no nothing. Didn't even have a valid, I had expired CPR. So, like started with the basics, some ICS, things like that. We have a core competency as well. So teaches us a couple basics of the county and sort of our SOGs, SOPs, things like that. And then we went right into 1001.
Yeah.
I was 4 months on and we were training 1001,
Yeah.
and we went hard and fast, but it was good. And now the guys that I trained with, we were all wet behind the ears our first day. And I tell you, 2 months later, like the team ethic that we had was so phenomenal. And my specific training partner, shout out Brayden, gotta love him, man. Honestly, I wouldn't have got through some of that without him. And he had also been through a structure himself, so we kind of had that same level of holy cow, like
I want to go back real quick. I want to go
yeah,
back to the structure fire because I feel like this really was like what cemented in your mind how like, you know what, I need to be on the other side of this. Like I need to be the person that's helping these people. And I also have to find out where are you from because your accent is about the cutest goddamn thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It's fucking adorable. So where are you from?
South Central Ontario, born and raised.
Oh my God, you sound like a mix of like a Newfie and a Texan and like maybe a
My
small town girl.
grandparents were born and raised in Newfoundland on the rocks,
There you
so
go.
I mean, that's everybody else asks if I'm from the South. I wish, but
Yeah, it's so cute. So you were living in Ontario when the structure fire happened. You were on the top floor of an apartment building. How many floors was it?
it was 3 floors, old Victorian home. I think was originally like 8 or 9 bedrooms that were made into 1 or 2 bedroom apartments. So what had happened was the lady who had the apartment next to mine on the top floor, there's only 2 apartments, mine and hers. Her stove was up against the wall. And this building again wasn't to code, built in 1904, historical
Hmm.
building of the town I'm from. Wasn't built to code. My entire building was plywood, so that's lovely. And full
Hmm.
of asbestos and black mold, which we didn't find out till afterwards. So shout out landlords. Loving that. What can you do? But so where her stove was, there was a doorway with 2 pieces of plywood over top, so nobody knew there was a door in between, and my bed was on the other side. So her stove caught fire and it went up the wall and right into the attic of my ceiling and into my bedroom. And my
Oh my
bedroom was
God.
on fire and someone came banging on my door that there was a fire. I woke up, turned my AC on, and went back to sleep. I just worked 3 14-hour back-to-back shifts. I did not care in the moment, didn't
Yeah.
really realize until there was some serious panic going on. And by
Yeah.
then, it was blacker than black in there. And all I could think about was car keys, phone, pair of work clothes, and let's get out of here. Work
Oh,
clothes. I don't know why that's on the radar,
hey,
but
it's another thing. It's
so.
another your brain like picks
But
up in those
and it was
situations.
also kind of my own fault, just the irrational thinking for a second, but then coming to and being like, okay, you don't have time for rational thinking. You're gonna be screwed if you don't get to thinking and
Yeah.
thinking straight. So,
Yeah.
and then, like I said, got faced with that moment of, do you just surrender to the situation because you can't see? I already had smoke inhalation at this point, and it was like, do I just give up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that mentality I was dealing with of mental health prior to that would have been very easy to just be like, throw your hands up and say, what
Hmm.
can I do? But
Yeah.
something came over me and it was just like, nope, get low, figure your way out. You know your apartment, sound your way out, find a wall, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And we got out, no problem.
So was there flames in your room or was it just like full on engulfed smoke everywhere?
Full on engulfed smoke, but all the ceiling was already caving in places and was on fire and stuff. And quite
Oh,
intense. Soon as I hit air, just started puking everywhere. Couldn't help it. So much smoke inhalation, and everybody who was already on the ground said you could see puke going down and smoke going up, coming out my mouth, and said you look
yeah.
like a puking dragon. I was like, yeah, it's kind of how it felt in the moment,
Oh
but
my God.
what can you do?
So did everybody make it out okay then?
Yeah,
Like everybody was able to, oh, okay, that's good.
yeah, everybody was good. I mean, the fire crews were absolutely phenomenal in response. They had 3 different counties need to come and deal with things. It's a huge building. And they went through, I believe, now not sure if that's accurate or not directly, but I heard through the grapevine about 3 dozen air tanks.
Oh,
So it was smoky.
yeah. Yeah.
It was a nasty one, but yeah,
Wow.
it was
Wow.
definitely a turning point. And I've dealt with a lot of things over the years that would blow your mind that didn't seem like that big of a deal, to be honest. I wasn't very fazed by the fire itself. I was more fazed at the idea of waking up the next day with actually having nothing.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between, having a bag of stuff and having literally nothing. And that was the gut-wrenching turning point for me where I want to be there for people on their absolute worst day because that sucks.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, was there lasting beyond like, and I want to talk about the loss of like things, but like, was there lasting health damage for you, like with the smoke inhalation, like lung damage, anything like that?
To be honest, I don't really know. COVID going on right away
I
after
guess.
that, our hospitals were already backed up with something before they gave it a name. So,
Yeah.
to be honest, I carried on. I didn't even think anything of it. I didn't get any examinations or anything done. I got a lung test a couple months later and passed. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I must be all right. I feel fine. I've had some all the generic blood work and all the things done for a
Yeah.
medical clearance for fire now and all good. Healthy as a
That's
horse as far as I know.
that's good.
But
And so
I
then,
got real lucky in comparison to what it could have been.
oh, totally. I mean,
So
yeah, like, and so then on the loss of property, like you said, yeah, like literally you have your keys and your
yeah,
phone,
our
and that's
building
it.
had no smoke detectors, which I mean was a bit of negligence on my own part as a tenant. I could have put in my own, but
Yeah.
we didn't have any throughout the whole building. There was no extinguishers in the building, but I had a big extinguisher that I moved into my apartment myself. That was kind of a saving grace, but it was useless at that point. So,
Yeah.
and we found out later that a lot of the leases weren't that accurate. So nobody's tenant insurance, if you had tenant insurance, would have applied anyway. So
Oh my God.
there was 8 of us that were displaced, including a young child. So, but everybody else's are just water damage or smoke damage.
Uh,
She didn't have much in her apartment. She had just moved in recently and didn't have very much. But I had just moved in and was rebuilding things after another previous incident of losing things. And so it was hard to lose everything, but realizing that it's just stuff.
yeah.
You know, it was hard to go back and look at everything and
Mm.
the damage that was done later, but I'm still here, so whatever. Stuff. Replace it
Yeah.
all. We moved on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just thankfully everybody was okay and nobody got hurt from that. And the only person that I would say, if anything, got hurt, there was a lady that lived downstairs, Darlene, that I really had a good connection with. She had stage 4 lung cancer before the fire, and she
Mhm.
passed within 6 months of it. So I think the smoke probably didn't
Oh
do
yeah.
me any justice. So
Yeah.
well,
Totally.
that was kind of unfortunate, but it happens. Things happen, but so
Yeah.
I wanted to be part of the people that make the difference in
Yeah.
showing up because the crews that showed up for that fire for me were crews that I grew up with, that my
Mhm.
best friend's stepdad was that fire department all my life. So these were guys that had known me since I was in diapers coming to try to save what they could of my stuff and trying to be as absolutely delicate as they could with the fact that they were lobbing my stuff out the window and trying
Trying
to
to
do what
save
they
it.
had to and
Yeah.
coming and talking to me and being like, I hope you understand and explaining things to me. Like, this is what's happening, this is what's gonna happen, because I had questions like when can I get back in? When can I see what's going on? When can I know? And they said it's gonna take a few days and there's a process and just filling me in instead of putting out the fire, leaving me in the dark and driving away or something. Like,
Yeah.
and we try to do the same as be there for people and follow up with people and offer the resources and things. And funny enough, well, I guess not funny. It was not really a funny situation at all. But this past spring in the county here, we had some pretty significant fires, and the estate that I live in was one of them. So we were evacuated from our house in the spring due to a very large in size wildfire. And so
Jesus. You're like a
we were,
lightning rod for fire.
yeah. Well, apparently, there's that superstition that every firefighter is either affected by fire or experiences fire within your first year. So I got mine.
And well, yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, and
Our
I
property was luckily untouched. Some of my neighbors didn't get so lucky, but again, like our crews fought so hard and
yeah,
we did everything we absolutely could that what loss that there was minimal in comparison to what it could have been. Like,
absolutely.
they
Yeah.
fought like crazy to stop that beast. My goodness.
Yeah.
And
So
we had
you
a couple of those this spring.
Yeah, I was gonna say with our wildfire season for sure.
Mhm.
So you came out from Ontario. So when did you get move out to Alberta? You were out in the spring of 2020?
No, actually, we didn't move until when did we move out here? It'll be 2 years in March.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then 2 years in September, we bought the house that we currently live in.
Awesome. Okay.
So
And
yeah, I was
so
registered for the department the day the house closed.
I love it. That's fantastic. I mean, like, and like you said, it all, the stars
It
aligned and
was
it all
eager.
came together. Yeah, but that's the way the universe works, right? It aligns
Mhm.
and it puts opportunities in your path. And yeah, and you just have to be open to seeing them. So that's awesome. So then I'm going to also go back. So you applied. What was the
Yep.
application process like? Like you just had to submit it all online, or like how did that look?
Yeah, so our county page, if you go on to lacstcounty.ca, I believe it's .ca, they have fire tab under there, and we have all of our information, sort of, what we are, what we do, where our stations are located within the county. And then so it will kind of give you sort of an area as to, it'll show you on the map what
Mhm.
station you would apply to. And you just send an application of interest. And then one of the station captains will reach out to you, come in, talk to them, kind of, what is it you're looking for? Sort of,
Mhm.
they also need to explain to you because a lot of people sometimes come in to an application with a sort of misconstrued sense of what fire is.
Mhm.
It's not full time here. We're paid on
Mhm.
call. Well, what's paid on call mean? Paid on call is it's your all the time job. And that's what we
Mhm.
say. This is our all the time, and then we have sometimes jobs. My
Yeah.
sometimes job is I'm a sub educator at a daycare. Like,
Yeah.
but our all the time job is when the tones drop and you're available, go
Mhm.
and do your
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
explaining that to them, and you get an application, you need to get your medical, criminal record, all that, excuse me, all that stuff. And then there's a couple of courses that are required for that point. Once you get county approval and all that's been sent through and everything, then you are at that point just signed off for attending our drill nights. So each
Mhm.
station has a drill night throughout the week, every week, just to do some extra practicing and stuff, obviously running drills.
Mhm.
Uh, and then so once you get the required courses to start on scene, so our core competency, ICS, things like that,
Mhm.
then you're good to go. Get your gear and get out there.
So, and you were saying with your training, so core competency, what would be included in a core competency?
So our core competency, when I did it, was weekend course. I think they've extended it this time to be thorough with it and make sure that, it's really getting across to you. But it starts with going over your gear because some people obviously have never been in structure gear or anything like that before or seen wildland gear. Going over the trucks, the tools, things like that. What else would that be? So we have house rules as well. Show respect. Don't walk past a full garbage can or full sink, things like that. You make the last pot of coffee, make another one. Respect things,
Yep.
team. So it's just mostly going over the county standards because you're going to learn the provincial, the federal, and the NFPA stuff in your respective courses afterward. But when
Mhm.
you're getting started, it's what does the county require of you? So we
Okay.
have our social media policies, our
Mhm.
codes of conduct, uniform policies, da 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 da. We take our uniforms very seriously. We don't just wear our t-shirts out and about for good measure or anything like that. That's a uniform. You take pride in that. You
Yeah.
represent well. So that's kind of the first bit.
Yeah.
Welcome to the fire service.
Yes. Yeah,
Are
absolutely.
you sure? Which I mean, it's so great though. Like the way that they give it to you is it's eye-opening that nothing is owed to you. It's going to be earned. But when you earn it, you are going to flourish. Like my first year was challenging, but not for any other reason but my own mindset.
Yep.
Being nervous, being, lacking confidence, whatever. And some of the calls, I mean, I was not prepared for that wildfire season, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we fought and conquered, and behind me here in the camera, if you can see,
Yeah.
rookie of the year. So, I mean, it
Good
was
for
worth it to give
you.
it your all. So, I
Yeah.
take some serious honor in that all of that paid off, and they give you
That's
that
all.
recognition and achievement and things like that, and quite an adventure. But I would highly recommend the fire service to anybody who even has an inkling. If you've ever
Yeah.
even thought about it, send in your application of interest and try it because you won't know until you do. The only definitive is that if you don't try, it'll never happen.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely. Yeah.
was so scared, like
Yeah.
scared,
Yeah.
scared. Put on
Yeah.
an SCBA for the first time and scared, but
Yeah.
know, the support of my superiors, my instructors, my fellow firefighters. I mean, it's become one of the most fluid things I've ever done. First call I went on, literally shaking in my boots. Like my voice was cracking and shaking on the way to our
Hmm.
first call. And I say, Cap, is this normal to be vibrating like this?
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, yeah, you'll get used to it. It'll settle in time. And
Yep.
now, I mean, the tones drop. I'm just get out the way, gotta go. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
my mind is set and ready, and I don't even think twice about it anymore. Like, it's just second nature now. Whereas, yeah, my couple calls, it was, oh my goodness, what are you doing?
It is, it's true. It's true. The first couple, it like you're just like, oh my God. And then after it finishes and you're still like shaking because you're just like,
Uh-huh.
holy shit. Oh my God. Did we just get through
Yep.
that? Like, wow,
My
right?
first really long structure call, I think, was like 19 plus hours on scene on Thanksgiving. And I got home, and of course, no one was here. Everybody was out for Thanksgiving. And I'm pretty sure I stood in my kitchen just staring out the window for probably like a good 40 minutes, just being like, what just happened? I don't even know what to do right now. Like, I
Yeah.
need to shower and eat and, all
Yeah.
the things, sit down for a minute or whatever. I'm just frozen still because what?
Yeah, your body has to process it. Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So after you say, so you said core competency, just going back to the training again, because I really want to dial it in for our listeners. So the core competency is about a weekend or longer, depending on kind of what the county wants together. And I'm assuming it's different for each county too, depending on what they want to share. So once you finish that, and so this is all like kind of like weekend courses and things like that. And then you said you did
Your level one interior structure firefighting, the
so is
PPDM
that
Fire Bible. It's a very thick book that teaches you the ins and outs of the basics of firefighting. So we go over everything from communications, command, ropes and knots, ladders, hydrants, roof ventilation, enforced entries, fire suppression, hoses, you name it.
mhm.
Everything to do with the basics of fighting fire, what you need to know to work from the back seat, basically.
Is it like a continuous course? Like you go away for 10
No,
weeks?
some can be. I know in Ontario, you can go to the academy, which is just a prolonged thing. You're away at a facility, and that's you eat, sleep, breathe fire.
Hmm.
And so we try to do that, but we don't have the facility to sleep you at every night or anything. And we all still got jobs, and
Yeah.
there's still calls going on. And so it's again a dedication thing. We spent several weekends last late winter, early spring last year, several weekends back to back, every Friday and Saturday, running all of this stuff and learning. And then on your own time, you need to read the book, and there's exams and tests and all the things to do, and JPRs, job performance requirements and things you have to get signed
Hmm.
off on through that time as well. So you have to show them you can do it all. That was the challenging part for me on a few things, being 100 pounds and 5'2". The K-Saw and I, we don't see eye to eye. That thing is heavy,
Yeah.
ungodly heavy.
Yeah.
Even the chainsaw and I, we have feuds every now and again because it's too dang heavy, but we'll get there.
And so once you finish that, and then, so do you need to, like, because you're saying, there's still calls and stuff going on. So are you allowed to respond to calls without having that
Yes.
completed?
So
Okay.
if you don't have your 1001, you stay outside of any structures or anything like that. You can be on a hose line if they feel confident in your abilities and you're confident in your abilities, because I mean, everybody knows how to run a hose,
Yeah.
right? So if you're confident in your abilities and your superiors are as well, you can get put on a hose line, but you can't do any entry into any structures or anything like that. You're limited to just accessory on the outside kind of thing. So once you get your 1001 certification, you go through all the training, you do your JPRs and get signed off. Then you need to do the provincial exam. So I got the top one is my provincial one.
Awesome. Yes.
So that one is once you have that, then you can go interior.
Hmm.
So when you're doing search and rescues inside, or any fire suppression in a structure, or secondary searches, things like that, you're now qualified, trained, capable, and able to do that job. You're certified, you know what you're doing. They can send you to do that. So for my first almost year, I couldn't go inside. Now, I still haven't gone inside, but
Yeah.
we haven't had a lot of calls for structures lately, knock on wood.
As I say, yeah, right.
Yeah. But also rurally out here, a lot of the structures are just they're not very big out here, so a lot of the time it's just not safe. By the time we get there, that's
It's
usually
done.
fully engulfed. We can't go in. I haven't had the opportunity yet. I'm sure I will,
Mm-hmm.
but I've gone in for some overhaul things and stuff like that on air and whatnot, but it's mostly just that your air work. You're going to be on air doing anything close to the structure, you need that certificate.
Mm-hmm.
You can fight wildfires out here without your wildland certification. You need to obviously be with other people that are. You can't go out.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you get. I got mine in the spring, and actually, the day I did my again, we did it over several weekends, and the day that we completed our one bit of live burn that we could before we got put on a fire ban, I got home, and 20 minutes later, we got our first big wildfire for the season. I didn't even get my boots on.
My
And
God.
we were at it, and my cap says, "Well, you're going to put everything you just learned to work."
Yeah.
And we sure did.
Yeah, and your county was specifically like right in the path of a lot of the wildfires. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys really
And
just got
my
beat down.
station, we have a really nice wildland unit. So
That's
we
a
were out there at the head of a lot of those fires, knocking them down and doing our thing. And it was so cool.
yeah.
It was so cool. I get so giddy thinking about it. Oh, it was so fun.
It's that's the thing with that type of thing, right? It's like we say, we knock on wood, like, oh, we don't want bad
No,
things to
nobody
happen.
ever
We don't want
wants
fires.
it to, but the
But then you're kind
paycheck
of
does.
or just like you're like, but I really want to do it because I want to put all that stuff I learned into practice and I want to be able to
Right.
go and do it for real, right? So
And
you're
that's
like
where, like, people think
silently,
it's crazy, but once you do it for the first time, that adrenaline rush, man, you'll never find anything else that gets your blood pumping like that.
no,
My goodness.
exactly right. That's exactly right. It is. You don't want anything bad to happen overtly, but you're like, well, but if it does, I'm
But if it
ready.
does, we're
So
ready. Exactly.
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 That's so funny.
But yeah,
So
after we wrapped up all that, we got into some fire prevention stuff with the kids too. We go out to the schools in the county and bring Sparky with us and get to do the things that I remembered as a kid that got me out of my structure fire, where I'm like, how crazy is it? And then I got thinking about it that some of these kids that are showing some serious enthusiasm about fire, like we get them out on a little bit of a hose and they're out there like, yeah, look at
yeah,
me. They're
yes,
so excited. I thought to myself, like, wow, like 10, 15 years from now, like I stay in the service, I could be your captain one day. Like
totally.
that's so crazy.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think that would be so full circle.
That would totally. Do you share your story with the kids? Like, do you share about how like you're teaching them is what you learned and that's what saved you? That's awesome. I feel like that's like such a good because
Yeah,
like
the
as
older
kids,
groups that, because some of the younger kids, you tell them you've been in a fire before, told them a couple of the younger ages, and their first question is, how come you didn't die then?
yeah,
Like, doesn't fire kill people? And
yeah,
then that's where I say, not if you're listening to what we're telling you and
yeah,
you do what we tell you, don't
yeah,
hide from us, do these things, make it known that you're there,
yeah,
whatever, all the things. Like, and it's like, that's why you do that. And then some of
yeah,
the older kids being like, I never thought, I really lived in that naive world of, oh, it's never going to happen to me.
yeah,
Like, I lived in a house my entire life with a fireplace in it.
yeah,
Wasn't ever worried.
yeah,
Never thought. And then just one day,
yeah,
never would happen to you happens to you.
absolutely.
And now you don't live in that naive world of it could never happen. It absolutely could.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have
Yeah.
a fireplace in my house so that stresses me out.
Okay, so now, so now you've been with the service a year and a half and you're fully comfortable, fully certified. So what does and again, I always kind of cringe at
Fully
asking this question because
comfortable.
yeah,
Man,
okay, getting
more
there, getting there.
comfortable than the first day. I'm not shaking so bad almost peeing in my boot.
So what does a day look like now? And again, I cringe to say typical because we never, as first responders, never have typical days. But what, like, if you're on call, what does that look like? Like, is there a schedule that says, like, hey, Kate, today, Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, you're going to be on call? Or is it just like you're on call all of the time, but you only get paid when you respond to the fire?
So we are on call all the time. There's no set schedules or anything like that. If you want to be available, we use an app called Who's Responding. So on that app, you can see for each station what members are quote unquote toggled on as available or put as unavailable. So right now mine's on unavailable, but if a call come in, I just flick to available and hit responding to station. And so we have TVs in the station, but also it's connected to everybody's phone where we can actually see who's coming, who's not, or who's going directly to scene or something like that, one of the command units or something. And then we get all our call information through there. We get our pins and stuff for where the call is. And then we can actually communicate through that as well to, see what other stations are coming, how many members are available, what's going on, and sort of do that quick on the fly judgment of, okay, we have such and such a call going on. Let's say we have a structure call going on. Our station only has 3 members. Well, it's probably not going to be enough for a structure fire. We're definitely going to need to call in, some other units, some other stations, but who and where is available. Sometimes the station could be completely out of service. They don't have any members available in that moment. So then you're on to the next one or something. So there really is no like you have to be on or you have to be off type thing. Obviously, if you can, you just stay on. And if you're busy for whatever reason, slip off. But if you're gonna be away, my station, we have a group chat that we have that, we just shoot each other a text. So everybody is kind of in the loop of I'll be gone till this time, or, I'm just gonna be quick to town and back or whatever. And all is good. So we kind of know who we have for drivers, who we have for bodies, like who's all working, manpower and all that, and then go from there.
And so, like, set up on a call, like, is there like, obviously the captain is, I'm assuming, going to be there and they'll be giving, like, delegating and stuff like that. But is there specific roles that people play every time they get to the scene? Like, is it like first on is always going to do this, second on is always going to do this, third on is always going to do this?
Yep, for the most part. So usually with my station and our calls, like every station within the county is different, but mine specifically, usually my captain, she takes command right away and she's usually first truck on scene. But whoever is first truck on scene just takes temporary command of the scene and sort of starts getting things set up. So we have SOGs and SOPs for if you're the first responding truck, here's what you do. Here's what you need to get in place. Here's the information that you need to pass along over the radio transmission to all the other incoming units because you're their eyes on scene. No idea what they're coming into. So you need to start getting things set up, kind of get all the information that you can get out there and get things rolling. And then as things progress, I mean, if it's just a small situation, usually, my captain or our, I believe, deputy chief, he'll take command depending on, and then they'll go from there. If it's a big situation where our county chief's coming out, sometimes he does, but it depends on the situation. They won't, like, if our county chief comes out, he won't just always take the command. It just depends on the situation at hand, whether or not we have enough people to for manpower. Like sometimes, she passes off command because we need her on the front lines with us. So she passes off the bucket. She's a wild one too. She likes to get in the action.
That's the thing. As you move up, you get further and further away from the action.
And they say, you gotta stay in the back seat because that's where the real action's at.
Oh, sad because you're like watching everybody else have fun and you're just like, I'm just over here commanding it. Damn it. Right. Okay. So then when you're kind of wrapping up call? Like what is that? Like, I mean, I'm assuming there's paperwork that has to be done. I'm assuming there's like things
So
that,
for me,
cleaning of the gear and
the
stuff.
lovely part for me being in the back seat, I don't have any paperwork. That is all the captain and the lieutenant. So yeah, with responsibility comes paperwork. So they do all that paperwork, but no, our drivers though they do have truck checks and things like that. So any operators of any of the apparatuses, you do need to go through, do your truck checks, make sure all is there. If there's any, fixes or anything that went wrong, because heaven knows things go wrong.
Yeah.
Um, date all of that, keep everybody in the loop. If the mechanic needs to be notified of something, let them know right away, all that. But usually when we get back, we do some rehabbing, is what we call it, and bring all the apparatuses back, take everything off the truck. Everything's had a bit of a clean on the scene, a bit of a decon, as
Hmm.
best we can, and then bring it all back to the station. Everything gets laid out. All the hose gets cleaned, all the tools get cleaned, gear gets cleaned as needed. All of our apparatuses, our station, we clean apparatus every time,
Hmm.
inside and outside, and wipe everything down because a lot of carcinogens and a lot of toxin
Hmm.
chemicals and all that stuff that can be out in the atmosphere. You don't need that bringing back with you.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
little as you can bring home with you, the better. So
Yeah.
yeah, we go back and decon everything, clean everything up, and then refill SCBA bottles, clean those off,
Hmm.
plug in anything that we used,
Yeah.
imaging cameras, such and such, to charge
Yeah.
them up, and then replace and replenish
Yeah.
everything off the truck if we used waters or whatever absorbent stuff,
Mm.
yada yada and all that. And then we have a little powwow afterward of, oh, how did it go? What's everybody think? If it's the wee hours of the morning, sometimes it's just a, well, good game, guys.
Yeah.
See you at the next one, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about it later. But
Yeah.
uh, we normally try to have a quick chat that, how did everybody think that went? Everybody was good with everything that went on that call. Was there anything, we could have done better? Anywhere that, maybe we slipped up on anything, just to make sure we're getting on that right away. And
Hmm.
then, yeah, just make sure everybody's of sound mind while leaving the station, that
Yeah.
for whatever reason, that wasn't triggering for you
Hmm.
or something, and just do a little check that everybody's top notch. And then, all right, see you at the next one.
That's really good though to hear. Like it is good to hear
Oh,
that there
yeah.
is a debrief and that there is a check-in
We
because
have I can't remember the acronym at the present moment, but we actually have a team with the county for that purpose.
hmm
So
good.
mental health things, after bad calls and stuff like that, we can bring people in. We have two fire chaplains as well that, if you need somebody to talk to in that way, any sort of, just need some spiritual guidance or support or
Hmm.
anything of that kind. And my captain actually is part of that committee. So it's
Awesome.
very it's a very driven point that
Hmm.
your mental health is important. And if you need someone to talk to, we are all there for each other.
Hmm.
We all need to be upfront with each other and honest. And if you don't want to tell everyone, at least talk to her,
Yeah.
because she is the person that can, not only just be your friend and support you, but has the resources and opportunities and things to get you the resources that you might need as far as extra supports and stuff like that go. So we have really good programs in that way where, yeah, if you're having a bad day, there's no excuse for you to not have help. There's amounts of help outpouring everywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, how does it work then? Because I would assume, obviously, in a county, you're going to be working then with the peace officers that are out there. You're going to be working with the RCMP if we're doing, motor vehicle and things like that. How does that relationship work between kind of all of like all three of you kind of working scenes together?
So we have an RCMP detachment actually within the county, in one of the local towns in Marathorpe. So we get them a lot of the time. They're awesome people as well. Like everybody, again, in the first response world is just such kind-hearted and well-rounded, like above average type of
Mhm.
person that, like, they're just such great people. So we work with the RCMP. We have our own county peace officers. There's also other peace officers, bylaw officers. We have a couple of ambulance units out of the Marathon Fire Department as well. So we work with a lot of these people, and in the spring we also worked with a lot of surrounding county departments as well,
Yeah.
Parklands, St. Albert, things like that. And everybody is just so great that it's so fluid because we're all here for the same reason, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, our safety is the utmost of importance. We're all there just to make sure that we all go home. We want to help, we want to alleviate the stress of the situation, the emergency, but at the end of the day, we also want to go home safely too.
Yep.
And so having that background and, that respect with each other and I love it. Like I really, again, was that person coming into the fire service that sort of thought like, is this going to be that typical thing where like, fire and police are at wit's end with each other and that
Yeah.
where it's like, no, like they really push around here that doesn't fly here. Like we are not above anyone nor below anyone. We are all standing next to each other in unison and support. And that's the
Awesome.
way it's supposed to be. Is that every single, unit that's required within the emergency service, it can be one big cohesive unit.
Yep.
And now, like again, rurally, our CMP peace officers, there could be anywhere. Like these guys get stretched beyond what fire gets stretched for, their areas of coverage and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so it can be a minute before they're there. Same with the ambulance and things like that. Whereas like us guys, if we're not at the call, we're probably at home or at work. Like, and
Yeah.
some of us work within the county where if you need us, just call. Give a
Yeah.
ring, be on our way.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as simple as
Exactly.
that a lot of the mutual aid is just they're gonna be a few minutes. And the ratepayer needs someone. Can
Yeah.
you go until we can get there?
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
just, make a trade-off. And Kate, here's your information you need on your patient. See you
Yeah.
at the next one, guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
Have a good one. And it's just such good mutual respect that it's nice. It's not that stereotypical way.
Good.
And this county breaks all those stereotypes, honestly. Like, there's no guy's world. There's none of that, entities within disrespecting each other in that way. Like, nope, this is just one big fluid unit that works
Yeah.
together for the greater good of Lac St. Like I'm lucky that I got part of a fire service that I did because I'm not sure that I would have been as happy back home in my hometown fire services. Honestly, like I think it would have been a lot harder having grown up in that hometown, in that small town. Like I know everyone there. Like it
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have responded to a call where I didn't know someone. Whereas
Right.
I know a lot of the guys out here deal with that. A lot of the guys on our department have been out here for time where like they grew up out here and these are their family and friends and things like that. And so it's having that respect as somebody that's kind of new to the area where I don't know you. Like I feel for you having a bad day and needing emergency services, but I don't know you. So I don't have that take it home with you and
Yeah.
worry. And, like as a responder, I do, but I don't as somebody who's known you for 20 years or
Yeah.
something like that. Whereas
That personal
that
connection.
probably would have crushed me as an individual back home at a young age that's hard to deal with.
Yep.
And back home, like it's different calls. I'd never experienced a wildfire before. No such thing in Ontario. It's too bad. Like no such thing. But like I lost a lot of friends in car accidents where a lot
Yeah.
of and we've got some seriously steep ditches in Ontario where you don't often make it. Very slim that you do. Whereas out here it seems like, okay, a lot of animals out here. Luckily most people make it through that. It's just a very different dynamic for sure.
Okay, I've taken a lot of your day and I know that you are busy and you're working. So I'm going to wrap up, but I want to wrap up with some quick kind of rapid fire questions I ask all my guests. They're super funny, super fun. So the first one that I always ask all my guests is, and for you, I'm sure this is one that you need to be on top of because you're on call. So you got to be ready all the time. What is your favorite food or snack when you are on call, when you're on shift waiting for those fires or in the fire itself?
Ooh, Well, can't say I have like a pre-call one because we never know. I mean, I've had the oven on, like stove, just turning it on, starting supper and get a call. So can't say there's any food before, but oh, our county is really great about getting us food on scene when we're going to be there for a long time. And there's a restaurant in the county, Mama's Kitchen, over in
Excellent.
Alberta Beach, makes the best burgers I have literally ever had. For sure, like when you're on fire scene, that stuff just it smacks, man. Like, oh my, ooh, is it good? So just a little shout out to Mama's Kitchen because if you're ever out in the county, you gotta go there. It is so delicious. I
Oh
tell you.
my God. You see, now I want to go.
Have literally like death glared each other and been like, I see there's only one box left. It's that good.
I'm definitely gonna have to stop by now and get some. That's hilarious. Okay, question number two. What would be your favorite piece of equipment that you get to use?
I see it's not a piece of equipment, it's a whole apparatus.
Okay.
Our wildland unit is kick ass. It's so cool. I love it. It's just a regular old pickup truck with a fire pump on the back, but the places that that thing can get, oh my goodness. Like, you don't stand a chance. Fire, we're gonna knock you down one way or another. And I just love it because she'll go anywhere. My goodness. And that truck can take the beating of a lifetime and still come out like, all right, so what's next then? It's just so cocky. I love it. So like I can take some more if you need. So I mean I wouldn't say a piece of equipment, but that thing, man, she never dies and it's amazing.
That is hilarious. I love it. So, does she have a name? Like, does the truck have her name? Because she has to.
She does actually. Her name's the goat.
The greatest of all times. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And actually, my captain calls me the little goat, and she's Mama Goat because we ran
Oh,
that unit this wildfire season, and we kicked some serious butt in that thing, her and I, and woo, it was a good time, I'll tell you what.
oh God. I love that. That's fantastic. Okay. I think the last one I'm going to ask you is what is your most memorable kind of thing over this whole last year and a half? Like, what has really stuck out in your mind? It doesn't have to be a specific call or anything like that, but just something that really stands out to you in this career.
Um, oh, there's moments and moments are flush running racing back to my head right now. And
Yeah.
honestly, the best moment that I've had thus far, one of the first wildfires that I fought, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, now I won't divulge too much, but we were in the head of it, was fighting it the best I absolutely could, and I was giving it literally everything I had. And I turned back after we got it knocked down and I looked at my captain and she said my whole face was black and all you could see was my teeth just grinning ear to ear. Even there was black stuff in my teeth. Just like I've never seen someone look happier to be so dirty in that moment. Like it was just on cloud absolute nine. Like woo! Like I was so ready, screaming out the window, just having a blast. But my other monumental moment for sure would have to be getting my rookie of the year. I did not know that was coming, had no clue. That was definitely a moment for sure.
And like,
Absolutely.
I'm really like to come full circle, like 100% to come full circle, like from
Literally.
being, like in the shit of it, not knowing what you wanted to do, like,
Oh yeah.
struggling mentally.
Crippling anxiety and not even
Yeah,
like I wasn't even sure how to make it through the day, let alone what I was gonna do next week.
right. And then
Here
to
we are
have
2 years later almost, and crazy how things can change if you get off your ass and put your mind to something.
You know what? I absolutely love that though, because I think it's true. Like, I mean, and you summed it up perfectly in that moment when you're in that fire of like, it's a choice. It literally is a choice every single time. You always have a choice,
If
regardless of
you
what
think you're at
situation
your
you're in.
max, you're only at 10%. You
Yes.
still have so much more that you can go if you can tap into it.
And
So,
it's just a choice. It's
yep.
choosing to do that versus choosing to go. that looks too hard, or it's just easier to not do that, or it's easier to just give up,
Kind
right?
of
Like,
playing victim in that moment of being like, well, this is my circumstances, I guess,
yeah,
what can you do?
yeah,
Kate Poersch.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, oh my God, girl, I have laughed so hard in this episode. Like, you are truly, I mean, like, I thought I had energy. You are like next level. Like, I feel like if the two of us got together in one room, like, people watch out because, oh my God,
Right?
there's two
I'd
little
say.
tornadoes coming their way. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
like I
You always
said,
called me a firecracker, and I giggled when you started with that. But that's always been the way.
I'm telling you, yeah, wow. It's been awesome. It's been an honor. Like, again, thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for choosing in that moment to get out. Like, thank you, because
I'm glad I did.
the world needs more people like you, girl. The world needs
No,
way more people like you.
you.
And congrats on that Rookie of the Year. You absolutely earned it for sure. I can tell, even without ever seeing you fight a fire, you earned it. So congrats on that
But
and
thank
good
you.
job. Any last words you want to give to our listeners before we kind of sign off?
Thanks so much, Nikki, for having me. Really appreciate it. And if you're ever out in the county, come look out for us. There's stations all over the place. We'll be happy to give you a tour around. And if you're interested in joining the fire service, pretty much every fire service across province is hiring, across country is hiring. Get
Nice.
out there and join the fire service. You do not have to be there every day, but once in a while even helps.
I love that. Okay, well, we will leave it at that. And for sure, I'm going to come out your way. I'm going to hit up Alberta Beach,
Absolutely.
Mama's Kitchen, and then I'm going to come for a tour. It's going to be a great freaking weekend at some point in the summertime. Hell, yes, I'm doing
Absolutely.
that.
Have to do some fishing out on this lake.
Yes, yes, absolutely. All right, girl. Well, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you. You as well.
Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening, giving me your time, your energy, and your attention. I completely appreciate it. Make sure you check out our next episode with another badass female first responder anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at bluelinefitnesstesting.com. I hope you stay safe, keep your head on a swivel, and watch your six.